Hi, welcome. This is Nadda Adamjee, and today I am broadcasting live into my Facebook page, my Facebook group, and my personal profile. So, anyone who's watching, thanks for being here and thanks for watching. If you don't know me, my name is down here, and I am a brand strategist, and my job is to get entrepreneurs more visibility, fast online visibility, so that they can reach their goals faster. So if that sounds like something that's you, or it resonates with you, then keep watching, because today is all about branding for online success. And the reason I chose this topic today specifically was because I see entrepreneurs make this mistake all the time. They focus on things that are not important, and they sort of tend to sideline or sidetrack stuff that really is important. Okay. So I just want to make sure that I am live and people can see me. So I know there are people who can see me in my group. So those of you who are watching live, can you just comment so I can see, just say live. And if you see this as a recording, as a replay, then just say replay. You can comment, you can ask me questions right here, and I will try to reply as soon as I can, and right after this training, or maybe together, like right simultaneously. I don't know, we'll see. So let's just start. And so let's talk about first, what are the mistakes the brands and entrepreneurs tend to make. The number one mistake in my mind is that people tend to focus on the brand identity as opposed to the important bits. So the brand, and that's not to say the brand identity is not important. It is important, but it's not the be all and end all. It's not something that requires so much focus. So what exactly is brand identity? Brand identity is basically your logo, your fonts, your colors. Okay. We know those things are important, but those things are not what branding is. Okay. So let me just differentiate between branding and brand, because a lot of people don't even know that difference. Okay. So branding is everything that makes a brand. Okay. Whereas you can have a business without any branding. You can have a business without actually building a brand, but branding is what makes it consistent. Branding is what makes it look professional. Okay. So if your idea is, if you want to come across as a professional, as someone who knows what they're talking about, to build your authority, to build your credibility, then you need to focus on your branding. Okay. One of the things that I have a problem with, let me just have a sip of my coffee also. So yeah, so one of the things that that I am going to talk about today is how to get brand consistency for online businesses, because it's not the same as brick and mortar business. It's not the same as retail, right? So I'll talk about that, but first let me just share with you what I'm talking about, so that just a graph that I even shared on my Instagram some while ago. And I just want you guys to see it so you have an idea of what exactly I'm talking about. Why is brand identity not as important as people tend to think? So here is a graph that I made. And this graph shows that, as you can see right here, that the logo is 7%, the colors and fonts are like 11%, but the majority in the graph, the most of the piece of the pie, let's say, is your ICA. And if you don't know what ICA is, it's your dream client. Okay. ICA stands for Ideal Customer Avatar, but forget about avatars. Just think about your dream client. Whoever your dream client is, that's what everything in your business is geared towards and focused on, from your colors to your logo, to your fonts, to your images, to the tone on the voice that you use, to the product and the services that you offer. Because obviously, if you don't have a client, then what exactly are you doing? then it's not a business. It's really not you. There's no point in building a brand if there's nothing that you're offering, right? So if you're offering something, then you want, that means someone to consume it or buy it or engage with it. So that's your customer, that's your dream client. So if you look at this graph, it's pretty clear that the main things are your customer and the product and service you're offering. But then all these tiny bits here and here, three of these are basically your brand identity. The colors, fonts, and logo is basically your brand identity. And if you look at the numbers, it kind of makes up just 29%, 11, 11, and 7. So that's 29%. So it's not that it's unimportant. It's not unimportant, but it's just 29% out of 100. So there are so many other things that you need to do. So I'm going to stop sharing this and come back so you can see my face and I'm not looking at a graph. So, okay, so now that we got that out of the picture and you know the number one mistake brands are making, so how do you fix that? How do you move beyond that? How do you get the consistency that everybody talks about? How do you build that authenticity that everybody talks about? So here is the thing. Consistency brings credibility. Consistency brings professionalism. Consistency brings trust, right? So obviously it's something that you have to focus on. But as I mentioned before, consistency in an online business and consistency in a retail business is very different. So for example, in retail, we talk about senses. We talk about like sensory stimulation. Like for example, if you walk into a store, you get like visual appeal and like, the things that you see in terms of how it's organized, how clean it is, how it's been departmentalized, how things are labeled, how, it's branded, like the colors, how clothes or whatever it is that they're selling, how, how much gap there is, because negative space, if you know anything about design, negative space is very important. Negative space is the blank space, because your eye needs space to rest somewhere, because if it's not resting, it just sees chaos, right? So this concept goes in everything. So that's what happens in retail. So when you walk in, you look at stuff, so you're getting this a sensory, like your visual appeal, stimulation, and then you hear things like they put on music, they put on like sounds that could be stimulating. Then they also have aroma. They have like scents that a lot of the retailers, by the way, have these scents and like aromatherapy kind of thing, which help you relax, so that when you walk into their store, you're relaxed. And if you're relaxed, you're obviously going to stay longer. You're going to browse longer. You'll probably stay in there way longer than you intend to, and just keep browsing. And they hope that the more you browse, you'll end up buying things, right? Because obviously, if you're stressed and you're just you're gonna get out of there as soon as possible. So obviously, stores don't want that. So that's what retail is. So in retail, it's all about stimulating your senses and giving you a message that's very on brand. But how do you convey that in the online space, right? So here is where it gets a little bit complicated, but a little bit easier. So there's like, pros and cons to everything. So this is one of those things. So the pro is that you don't really have to focus so much on all the senses, but you really do have to focus on the visual, because everything is visual online. You're not really smelling anything. You could be hearing things, so you could focus on the music of your video or your podcast or whatever it is that you do. You could focus on the visuals mostly, which could be your banners, it could be your the colors, it could be the again the graphics that you use, and things like that. So consistency comes from making sure that on every touch point, like wherever your customer, your dream client is interacting with you, even if they're not interacting with you, but you hope that they will interact with you. From the time that they Google search a term that might be what the term that you use, and they come across your name or your website or your page or whatever it is, from that time to the time that they click on your link and come and see what you have to offer, come and see your video or read your blog or whatever it is, that's all of those touch points. Those are the times that you are basically interacting with them, whether you're interacting with them live or they're consuming your content or seeing what you have to offer. Those are called touch points, right? So those touch points are your chance to show a consistent brand. So in the online space, your consistency comes from anything and everything that they will interact with, whether it's your email marketing, whether it's your lead magnet, whether it's your website or your sales page or your landing page or your Facebook group or your social media profile, whatever the hell it is, that's what it is. So you have to be consistent on all those things across the board all the time. And it's not like one and done kind of deal. It's something that you have to keep at it all the time. And the more you repeat, the more you basically get your message across and show that you're consistent and show that you are basically showing up and you are up to date and making the effort, right? So that also builds credibility. So this is where it gets it gets easier, because it's just online and it's digital stuff, so it's easier to create uh, compared to retail, because they have to think about all those senses. But it also gives you the flexibility. This is where sometimes flexibility can get a little bit confusing for people or even overwhelming, because when you have so much freedom to do stuff, you often get confused at what the hell am I supposed to do first, right? So this is why a lot of the entrepreneurs that I see online, they focus on the easy stuff and they're like, forget about the rest, or they don't even know about the rest. So brand identity, like the logo and the colors, those are, like I said, important, and you do them. But at the beginning, if you're in the beginner stage, if you're a startup, then don't waste money on it. Just do it yourself. There are lots of trainings out there. I even have training in my group, and if you comment and you say you're interested, I'll share the link with you. You can watch those. So you can just DIY and do those yourself. That's not such a big deal, because when you're a startup, you are going to be fine tuning as you go along. Maybe a year down the line or a couple of years down the line, you can hire a professional to do this for you. Until then, it's not the be all and end all. More important stuff is the research. Good coffee. Yeah, so more important stuff is the ICA research that you do, the market research that you do, so that what offer, what product or service you should be offering, what your customer is actually looking for, what problems you intend to solve. Those are the important bits, because everything will be based on those. And those people who in the past, I've had people saying, yeah, but I've already done my research, or yeah, I know that already. The thing is, we all know a lot, because it's internet and we read and we study and we can learn anything. But it's not about knowing stuff, it's about doing stuff. Okay, so you can know anything, but what is it that you're implementing? What is it that you should focus on and implement first? And I do see a lag, by the way, in the video, so I'm sorry about that. But anyway, I digress. So it's the action taking that you're doing. It's what are you working on? What are you actually delivering? Because knowing something and doing something are two very different things. And if you're not implementing what you already know, then there's no point in knowing it, because then it's just a theory in your head, right? So that's the other thing. Like, you have to take action and you have to implement things. So now that we've talked about a little bit about branding and what constitutes branding, here's another thing. You know how research, I just said that research is very important. So I've had people tell me that, but research, yeah, I did the research. I did my competitor research. I did my So I know what's out there, but now what? The thing is, if you look at big businesses, big companies, they have an R&D department for a reason, right? It's a full designated department that just does research and development. That's their job. And if it wasn't important, they wouldn't have it, right? um, so research is an ongoing thing. Research never ends. You have to define the goal of your research. Like, for example, if the first goal of your research is to look for look at what product range or what offers your competitors have and what's available in the market, so you're not repeating the same thing, you so that you can put your own spin on it and give it to your offer it to your customers. So that's the research for a specific thing. If your research is about looking at how other people have branded themselves online, then that's that. Then it's again a very specific research on understanding what and how other people have branded. If your research is about what freebies people have, how are people like attracting customers, how are they getting people into their subscriber list, on their email list, then you're looking at the lead magnet. So then your research is very specific to lead magnets, right? So research can be anything and just about any topic, but it needs to be very specific, because if I say go research, well, research what? There are like a million things you could be researching, and then it's very easy to get distracted. So that's the point. Like, focus your research on things that are relevant to you at that point. So you're just not, just there like looking at stuff, and pretty soon you'll end up on social media and not do anything. So be defined. Define your goal before you start doing it. That this is my purpose. I'm going to spend 1 hour or half an hour or 2 hours, whatever, doing it, and do it, right? So that's the thing. So do your research, diligent research on what's available in the market, how people are branding, how what offers your competitors have, what offers your benchmark brands have, because benchmark brands are brands that are brands that inspire you, brands that you love. Okay, you could love them as a customer, you could love them as just like something that you would aspire to be, that you wish your brand was like that. So those are benchmark brands. They don't have to be direct competition. They can even be a different niche altogether. They can be offering completely different thing. But it's very important to know what is it that you like about them, what is it that you love about them, what is it that they're delivering that you as a customer just absolutely love and admire, right? So because those are the kind of things that then you can take note and say that, okay, I would like to learn that, I would like to implement that for my customer. How you do that, that's the spin you put on it, right? So thanks, Hamid, for saying great topic. And yes, SWOT, which is a strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, those are very important, and every business should look at it. I think of that as a more of a marketing term, so I try to break that down for my audience, because one of the things I learned when I was building my branding bootcamp course was that I don't want my those people who take that course to become marketers. They're not training to become professional like marketers, right? They need that information to basically implement in their business. And how can they take that information and implement it immediately without getting overwhelmed by marketing terms and jargon, right? Because let's face it, I'm a marketer and I know marketing jargon is like, because they have a term for every damn thing, right? That's what marketers do. They invent terms for everything, and you don't really need terms to do something. You need to do that, right? You need to do the thing to get results. Knowing the jargon, it does not really help you. It's really not going to help. So anyway, moving back to the topic at hand. So to look professional, just to recap, to look professional, you have to be consistent, you have to show up, you have to be consistent on every touch point that your customer or prospective customer will be interacting with you. You have to use the right words, the right message, the right tone to keep them engaged, to attract them. Because obviously, if you are talking to, this is why the customer, that dream client, is so important to know. Because if your dream client is a specific age group, they like soft voice, they like a tone that is very neutral. They are like, if you're in the health and wellness industry, for example, and you're talking the way I'm talking right now, you'll be like, you know that might turn you off, right? But I know that in my industry, in my niche, if I'm this sort of action and this sort of tone shows that I'm passionate about this, shows that I want you to do best, I want you to learn, I want you to grow your business. So I want you to absorb every information that I'm giving you and implement it. And if you have questions, ask me, because I'm going to help you get there. So that's how you get consistency, and that's how you show up for your customers. You show up for your dream client, and you don't show up as I, me, and myself, and this is what I'm going to do with you today. It's like, what do you want? And I am going to help you get there, and we are going to deliver this for you, right? So this is the thing. Every message that you have is for your customer. It's for them, it's for their journey, it's for them to get to their destination, their like the results that they want. So that's where that is. One of the other trainings was specifically about offers and the customer journey and stuff, so I'm not going to really get into that. Today is specifically about branding, so we're going to talk about branding. So now that we've talked about consistency, we've talked about the customer and all that, there's one thing which I feel every business should really, really look into first. Okay, so and not when I say first, I don't really mean first. I mean, like, when you're doing your research, when you've got your dream client, your vision is one of those important pillars. So what's your vision? The vision that you have for your business, the vision that you have for your life, the vision that you have your where you want to go in life. And the reason why I say life and I don't necessarily say business is because business is part of life. It doesn't, like, it's not a separate entity in terms of for especially for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are the business is very much part of you and part of your life. You might want to separate it, and you might want to, like, take a step back and have specific hours that you do it. That's totally fine. But it's your life that can be divided into personal and professional. But nowadays, because we're sort of working from home and we're kind of stuck at home and that kind of stuff, so just look at it as life. So what's your vision in life? How do you see your life in 15 years or 20 years? How do you see your business back, in the future? Where do you see it? How do you want it to be at that point, like 15 years from now? What all do you think you've achieved by then in your business and in your life? How are you living? How many hours do you work? How do you, like, do you work from home, or do you have a separate office? Do you have employees? Do you have, like, what kind of car do you drive? So basically, you're doing the kind of exercises that you usually do for your ideal customer avatar. You're kind of doing that in a very visual, visionary sort of way for your brand and yourself. Okay, and you're doing it. And the reason why this is, and this is not like an exercise that you sit and you like type on your computer. This is a journaling exercise. Do this, write down whatever comes to your mind. It doesn't have to make sense. Just keep writing, because you're going to dig some really insightful stuff from there. Because when we write, we are writing, it's like our subconscious taking over at times, and we just write whatever's coming to us. Okay, and that can be very insightful, because what we might not say, and we're certainly not going to type, because for us to type, we have to think. For us to write, we sort of it's a flow that happens. It's a completely different area of the brain that works, and this is scientifically proven. But I'm not. Don't quote me on it. But it is. There's been studies done on it. Okay. Anyway, so I digress. So do an exercise on this. Journal in what your vision is 15 years, 20 years from now, and when you have that nailed down. And when I say nailed down, I mean when you've got it written down, it could be pages and pages. I don't care. Just go back and be specific about certain things, like how much time, for example, you're putting in your business. How many employees do you have? Are they like virtual employees? Are they like employees that work in your office with you? Do you have an office? Do you have like a office at home, or do you have an office somewhere else? So things like that you talk about or you write about, and be specific. And then what that exercise does is that it gives you a blueprint. It's a blueprint for you to look at in terms of where would you want to be in 15, 20 years. So then you work backwards and come back now. Okay, that if I want to have a book published, let's say, by the time, like in 15 years, I have like 2 books published already. Okay, cool. So then what? Like, what does that mean for me right now? Does that mean I start writing the book? Does that mean that I should at least have like some topics down? Because 2 books in like 10, 15 years, it doesn't take 15 years to write a book. But what does that mean? Does that mean that I should be more regular on my blog? Should I focus my energies more on that, or no? So those are the so if you understand what I'm trying to say, is that when you work backwards and you know that, well, that's what I really want, that's my dream life, then what are you doing today to do it? So if you don't have to like start immediately that today I have to start, like, let's get rid of everything and work on only this. No, you work on it. Okay, so basically if it's 15-year goal, so then let's say by first 5 years, I should have at least 1 book draft done. So I don't have to start working on it today, but I should work towards it. So that means I should get in the habit of writing. That means maybe I should be more regular in my blog writing. And what's the first step for that? That would be, okay, let's get some topics that I should put into my blog, and what are the topics that my customer would be interested in. So, okay, let's do some brainstorming on that, and let's put that. So things like that. So the vision actually dictates a lot of the things that you will implement in your business today. And not just when I say today, I mean like figuratively today. I mean like, from now onwards, let's just say that. So think about it like that. So vision, your customer, and your actual brand personality. But brand personality is like the tone and the messaging and the the type of visuals you have. That is brand personality. And brand identity, as I've mentioned before, is your logos, colors, and fonts. So that's all that. So I hope this was helpful for you guys, because I think I've pretty much talked about the stuff that I wanted to talk about. And just to reiterate what I said, is that branding is the foundation that your business is built on. My son, because on the clock he literally gets antsy. My 30 minutes are coming, so I guess he's getting antsy now. Anyway, so I forget my train of thought. What was I saying? Yeah, so branding is basically the foundation of your business. And if your foundation is weak, then your building cannot stand, because obviously you can't have incomplete foundation and then expect a building to be on top of that. So it is going to collapse at some point. So getting your foundation strong, and even if it's not 100% done, but still getting all the foundation elements in place and working on really building a strong foundation, that should always be the starting point. Okay, so as an entrepreneur, focus on that. The second thing is, like I said, always research and research is ongoing. Research does not end after your 2-hour session one day. It goes on, and you should actually have like a little bit of time set out in your month where you research certain topics or certain things that are important in your business. Then the third thing is obviously your customer. There is nothing that gets done without the customer. The customer is the center of your business. The customer is the mom duty, peeling a banana. Okay, so there you go.
Yay, banana.
Okay, so I don't have a tissue. Okay, so what was I saying? I was saying that, yeah, so your customer is the center of your business. They are what everything will be focused towards. And basically, you need to just make sure that everything you do, all the messaging that you have, all the products, offering, colors, fonts, logos, tone, it's something that your customer will be attracted to and love. Yeah. So that's my son, in case you missed him. So anyway, I think we're done for today. And just so that you know, if you comment me in comments, like me, let me just put a banner for that as well. So if you just comment me, I will send you a brand board template, which is a Canva template, so you can use that. And if you would like to have a social profile audit, I'm offering a free social profile audit. I'm offering a free social profile audit as well. So you can basically comment social, and I will reach out to you, and we can do a social profile audit of just one social media. It can be Facebook, it can be Insta, it can be Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it is that you have, and we can look at it. Okay, so nice talking to you, and see you next time. And those of you who are watching for the first time, I have my live every Wednesday at the same time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern time. And as you can see, my son is getting super, super antsy, and it's his lunchtime, so I gotta go. Anyway, so see you next time, and nice being here, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, any comments, you can leave them below, and I will try to answer them directly. And let me just look at some of the comments. Thank you, and yes, communication as per prospect customer, so they feel me type of brand, and they become loyal. Yes, so as Sheikh Hamid mentioned in his stop that, please. As somebody mentioned, that it's customer talks, a customer interacts and feels connected with your brand when they see that it's for them, when they see that you're talking the same talk, you are using the words that they think about, you're using the terms, the problems that you seem to know exactly what they're feeling, exactly what they're thinking. That's when they feel connected with you. That's when they feel that they found their they found their person or their tribe. So it's that's why the messaging is very important. That's why understanding your customer is so important, because unless and until you understand what they're feeling, what their emotional state is, what their frustrations are in life, what their problems are, what makes them happy, what makes them click, those are the things, or their lifestyle and everything. those are the things that give you a little insight about them, right? And then you can reach out to those people, and you can talk to them, and the more engaged you are with them, the more you get these golden nuggets that you can then implement in your business. Anyway, it's great being here. Enjoyed this live. I hope you did too. So I will be ending now. Adios. Bye.